You open a folder and 100 pages slide onto the floor. Service records, clinic notes, a VA letter, maybe a statement you wrote years ago. You look at the pile and think, I have the documents. Why can't I explain the story? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The biggest evidence mistake is trying to make every document prove the entire story. One record may show a diagnosis. Another may show an assignment. Your memory may explain what you experienced. None of those sources has to answer every question by itself. The goal is not to build a bigger pile. The goal is to understand what each piece can actually tell you.
Welcome to the Veteran Benefits Reset Podcast. I'm Cameron Burrell, a U.S. Army veteran and founder of VetBiz Media. Today, we're doing a 10-minute evidence triage session. Not a prediction session, not a rating calculator, not a substitute for a VA-accredited veteran service organization, claims agent, or attorney. This is a preparation exercise. We are going to separate three things: what you know from firsthand experience, what a particular record actually says, and what still needs to be clarified. That separation can turn a stressful conversation into a focused one. It can also keep you from filling gaps with assumptions. Education before action. Facts over frustration. Before we touch a document, choose one issue. Just one. Not your entire military history, every diagnosis, and every VA letter from the last 20 years. Pick the question that is most important to understand right now. Maybe it is knee pain that began during service. Maybe it is a hearing concern, a sleep problem, or a change in work capacity. Write that issue at the top of a blank page, but write it as a topic, not a conclusion. Knee symptoms during and after service is a topic. This record proves my claim. Make you overlook what the evidence really says.
Now put down what you personally remember. Where were you? What were you doing? When did you notice a change? What did you do next? Did you seek treatment, change a duty, miss work, alter a routine, or tell someone what was happening? Keep the language ordinary. After repeated kneeling and lifting, my knee began hurting by the end of the day, is an observation. My service definitely caused my current condition may involve medical and legal questions that you should not try to settle on a worksheet. If you know only the season or the assignment period, say that. If the date is approximate, label it approximate. An honest uncertainty is more useful than a precise date invented to make the timeline look neat.
Let me make that even simpler. Write 5 quick answers. What happened? When, approximately? Where? What did I notice? What changed afterward? You may not finish every line. That's fine. This is not a memory test, and it is not a contest to see who can describe the most difficult experience. It is a way to distinguish what you directly experienced from what you later concluded. Those are both part of a larger conversation, but they are not the same kind of information. If you find yourself writing a long paragraph, stop and turn it into 3 or 4 plain bullets. Short notes are easier to compare with records later. Next, take one document at a time. Do not ask, does this prove everything? Ask 4 smaller questions. Who created this document? When was it created? Why was it created? And what exact words seem relevant? A service record may establish an assignment or a period of service. A treatment note may record a symptom, a diagnosis, a test, a medication, or a history reported by the patient. A VA decision letter may explain what was considered and why the decision was made. Read the document in context. A sentence that says, the patient reports back pain beginning several years ago is different from a sentence that identifies a specific examination finding or treatment date. The wording matters. Here is the question that keeps the review honest. What does this record confirm, and what does it merely mention? Imagine a civilian note dated May 2018. It says the patient reports knee pain and difficulty standing for long periods. That may be useful documentation, but by itself, it may not answer when the symptoms began, what happened during service, or how symptoms changed between separation and that appointment. A later note might mention an old workplace injury. That is another piece, and it may create another question. What symptoms existed before that event? What changed afterward?
Do not force the pieces into a neat answer just because a neat answer feels better. Let the documents raise questions.
The third space on the page is for what you still cannot answer. This is not a failure box. It is a navigation box. Maybe you remember treatment during a particular assignment, but you do not know whether those records are available. Maybe you have a current diagnosis, but you are unsure which document first recorded it. Maybe there is a long gap between service and civilian treatment. Write the gap down without trying to fill it with an internet comment. Questions might look like these. What official record could verify the assignment? Is this note describing a diagnosis, a symptom, or a reported history? Are there records between separation and the first civilian appointment? What did the VA decision letter identify as missing or unresolved?
Let's walk one fictional veteran through the page. The veteran remembers recurring knee pain during a physically demanding assignment, especially after repeated kneeling and lifting. The exact month is uncertain. Available service treatment records do not show every appointment. A civilian note from May 2018 documents knee pain and limited standing tolerance. A newer note describes difficulty walking for long periods. That is not a complete answer. It is a useful starting point. Under I remember, the veteran writes, knee pain noticed during repeated kneeling and lifting. Exact month uncertain. Under the record says, the veteran writes, May 2018 note documents knee pain and limited standing tolerance. Under I need to clarify, the veteran writes, how can I verify the service period? And are there earlier treatment records?
Notice what that page does not say. It does not diagnose the veteran. It does not claim that one note proves the entire history. It does not predict a rating, an effective date, approval, or compensation amount. It creates a better conversation. That is the point. When you meet with an accredited representative, you can bring the focused question sheet, identify the documents connected to those questions, and ask what needs to be verified. You do not have to arrive with a perfect binder or a confident conclusion. You need a clear starting point, one issue, 3 kinds of information, a short list of questions.
Now, make the file manageable. You could use 4 broad folders: service records, medical records, VA correspondence, and personal notes. Give files simple names that include the source and date, such as Civilian Clinic, May 2018, or VA Decision Letter, month and year. Keep a small log with the document name, source, date, and 1 sentence about what it appears to address. Do not attempt to interpret every page in one sitting. Start with the issue you chose. Store sensitive records securely, avoid posting them in public forums, and share only what is necessary through trusted official or accredited channels. Organize for a conversation, not for display.
There are 4 traps to watch for. First, turning an approximate memory into a made-up exact date. Second, treating a medical note as if it answers questions the note never addressed. Third, sending a mountain of documents without explaining what you want to understand. And fourth, confusing organization with proof. A well-labeled folder can improve clarity. It cannot guarantee eligibility or an outcome. Also, be careful with old videos, social media checklists, and confident comments from people who do not know your circumstances. Procedures and forms can change. Verify current information through official VA resources, and consult a VA-accredited VSO, claims agent, or attorney when appropriate. Veteran to veteran, more information is not always more useful. Better questions often are.
Before our next episode, set a 10-minute timer. Choose one issue. On one page, write 3 headings in your own words: what I remember, what the record says, and what I need to clarify. Add the source and date beside each document you mention. Then choose 1 or 2 questions to verify through official VA information or with an accredited representative. Stop when the timer ends. You are not required to solve your whole history today. The win is having a clearer starting point. Organize, verify, execute, one responsible step at a time. So remember the central idea.
Do not ask every document to prove the entire story. Let your first-hand account describe what you experienced. Let each record speak for itself, in context, with its source and date. Let unanswered questions remain visible so they can be verified instead of guessed at. Thanks for listening to the Veteran Benefits Reset podcast. I hope today's episode gave you a clearer understanding of the VA disability benefits process and one practical step you can take toward getting organized. This is an independent educational resource, not legal or medical advice, and it does not replace guidance from a VA-accredited veteran service organization, claims agent, or attorney. Every veteran's service, medical history, and circumstances are different, so verify current information through official VA resources and seek accredited guidance when appropriate.
If this episode helped, follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with another veteran, family member, or caregiver who could benefit. Download the free 7-step Veteran Benefits Reset Guide at vetbizmedia.com/veteran7. Thank you for listening to the Veteran Benefits Reset podcast. Your service did not expire. Your story is still worth reviewing. Take the next responsible step.